We're joined from Jackson by the President and Chief Operating Officer of First Commercial Bank right there in Jackson, Pam Ware. We thank you so much for taking some time for us today. We're in the Finance Career Cluster, and I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County Schools, Ridgeland High School, Madison Central, Rosa Scott, Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule for us today.
Well, thank you, Greg. I appreciate you asking me to do this and to be with your class. I wish I was there in person because I love to have feedback and be able to see all of your faces because I know that you're all super smart students as you go through Velma Jackson and other Madison County schools. So, Greg, remind me what grades these are. These
Everybody I have
seniors?
with me right now is either ninth or 10th grade.
Ninth or 10th grade. Okay, so I have an eighth grader at home. So I have a daughter that's in eighth grade and a stepson that is a senior and getting
Oh,
ready to go out into the world and see what he makes of himself. So I know y'all are all looking forward to that as well as y'all are talking about careers.
yeah.
And today we're going to talk a lot about careers in banking. I'm going to show y'all a video. Hopefully, we'll be able to get it to work of a video that we helped produce with the Mississippi Bankers Association that
Ooh,
talks about careers in banking and all the different things that you can do. And then we're going to talk a little bit about just banking 101, things that you need to know as you become young adults and get out on your own for banking, and hopefully probably some things you can share with your family, your loved ones, even your parents, of just good things to know about banking. I'm
awesome.
happy to take any questions that any of y'all have.
Yeah,
We'll answer any
they're all
questions.
gonna hand me questions, so I'll get to those shortly.
Perfect. Good deal. Well, to tell you a little bit about myself, I grew up in Jackson. I actually went to school. I guess you go by Coach Pygott. Is that
Yeah,
and not Greg? Yeah.
yeah.
So for everybody to know, I went to elementary school and high school with your Coach Pygott. So I can tell y'all all kind of stories about how he was in school, but I'll save that for another day. But for y'all to all know, we were all kids at one time too. We all sat in your chairs in ninth grade, and life is not easy. And I will tell you, things that y'all go through on a daily basis are much tougher than what we went through in ninth grade because we did not have cell phones. We did not have
Thank God.
the things y'all have. Thank goodness we did not have the technology that y'all have today. I think we had pagers, and y'all probably don't even know what those are. But we had the pagers that we wrote like hello with numbers. That was our way of communicating. That was our texting back in the day. But so I went to school with Coach Pygott. Then I went to Mississippi State University in Starkville. Got a degree I got a business degree, majored in banking and finance and international business. When I came out of Mississippi State, there were very few industries really hiring. And I really didn't want to be a banker because my mom was a banker. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. That's kind of boring. Just counting money and being in a bank all day. Like I didn't think I wanted to do that. But it was really either banks or like a enterprise rent a car place. And so I decided, you know what, I think I'm going to go into banking. I started out as a teller. So when you go, if you've ever been to a bank and they count out the cash to you and cash your check or take a deposit from you, that's where I started in a bank. I've done everything from work the front office to work in the back office in operations, and then ultimately somehow they asked me to become president of the bank. So we've been out of school for a long time, so I'm going on with my time in college, 25 years in banking, which is hard to believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it means we're old, and we're getting old. And so it's just been a good journey and a great career for me and a steady career, because what you're seeing is clients only want to come into the bank. You know, these online banks are starting, but folks are still like to be able to come in, see a person, and be able to talk about their finances and their money, whether they need a loan, they need something on their deposit account, or maybe they've had fraud on their debit card or what have you, and they want to talk to somebody. So the careers in banking is not going away. It really can't be outsourced to technology. Well, hopefully technology is making our job easier, which it does. But ultimately, you still got to have the people to think and the people to cash the check. So y'all probably just saw our security guard walk by my door. That wasn't a cop. So here in Jackson, we do have a security guard with us at the bank, which is also a great job. Mason does a wonderful job for us and makes good money doing that and just keeping us safe. So we're very blessed to have Mason here with us today. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to try to share this video so we can watch
Okay.
the Mississippi Bankers. And so Greg, just stop me or text me if y'all can't hear it or if y'all have any trouble, okay?
All right.
But I'm going to share the screen. Let's see here. All right, I need to click share sound. I know. All right. All right, you got it?
I see it. I see your screen.
Okay, perfect. All right, can you see it now?
I see it.
Okay, all right. So this guy right here, so I'm going to give you a little story about this guy that's starting off on the video. He works for me. He is my chief risk officer here at the bank, and he works remotely. He works out of Pontotoc, Mississippi, and does a lot of different things for us, but he tells a really cool story. And then you're going to see some banks that are not, some people that are not with our bank. It's just a combination of all of us banks putting this video together to talk about the different types of careers here at the bank. So I'm going to get it started, and Greg, just text me if y'all can't hear it, okay?
Cool.
There's a huge misconception about careers in banking, and that most people conceptualize a bank with two things: the teller's counting money and the lender's lending money.
Do you want to work for a diverse, rewarding industry? Banks of all sizes need talented staff to handle jobs ranging from lending and compliance to communications, cybersecurity, and more. No matter what specific field you're pursuing, you'll find a bright future in banking.
I feel like I probably don't have the same day twice. I do different things every day. I do anything from, creating content for social media, making sure our print and digital ads are kind of in place and where they need to be.
HR is exciting and fun because you're dealing with people on a daily basis. It's not sitting in an office. You cannot do human resources behind a closed door. You have to get out in front of the people. You are advising people, you are counseling people, you are problem solving and multitasking on a daily basis.
In electronic banking, I help make sure that our customers are satisfied with the services that they're getting through online banking and our mobile apps. I also process ACH payments as well as processing wires, both international and domestic.
Have responsibilities in the areas of risk, compliance, fraud, security, Bank Secrecy Act, so on, so forth, and so on. The list is endless. What else you want to know?
The banking industry is more than meets the eye, and a career in banking can be rewarding and enriching.
For me, I would say banking has given me something new to look forward to each and every day. So it's just always opportunity within opportunity to be something different, be something more, to set different grounds for your kids so that it's different for them than it was for you.
I have worked with and impacted hundreds, if not thousands, of people's lives. And that is a very satisfying thing for me personally, is the amount of people that I've been able to touch. And every single one of those people have touched my life as well.
I play an essential role in assisting the community because what I get to do means I get to keep the bad guys off the streets. In some way, I am assisting law enforcement in what they're doing when we're looking for fraud and security events and non-compliance with federal laws and regulations.
I thought when I did this that it would just be marketing, but it's so much more than that. Making sure that the community feels our support and that our employees feel my support, and that they feel special. And so that's definitely something that brings me joy, to make others feel special.
Banking is about serving people, and it takes all types of skill sets to make a strong bank run smoothly.
So when I started, I was actually a management trainee, so I did a little bit of bookkeeping. I was a teller for a little while, and then they needed a marketing person, and so I was happy to step into that role.
So it's always easy to climb up in a banking world such as ours at Planters Bank, because they give you an opportunity.
I can't think of anything that would provide more opportunities for growth, just from my own experience, than within banking. Like I said, I started as a teller.
If you've never thought about banking before, or even if you know it's what you want to do, we hope these bankers had insight to new possibilities for you. If you're interested in finding out more about a career in banking, anyone at the Mississippi Bankers Association or the Mississippi Young Bankers would love to answer any questions you may have.
That's awesome.
All right. Good deal.
Now,
All right, were y'all
something that I think something I think is overlooked when it comes to careers in banking is, I always tell people, if kids are, if you want to have a family, this is a great career to get into. Your schedule, for the most part, is going to be the same every week. Now, your work days, like we saw, are not going to be the same, but for the most part, your schedule is set. You're off on holidays. You're off on weekends. It's very easy to be at your children's event. So, for people interested in having a family when they get out of high school, this could be a great fit.
Right. Yeah. So, I think it is very nice to be able to, everybody calls them bankers hours. The bank opens at 9 and closes at 4:30. Monday through Thursday, we're open a little longer on Fridays. But, we do come in earlier than that because we have to make sure all the files processed, the money's here. So we're here a little after 8 o'clock, and then we're here until we process at night with the Federal Reserve. So we can, our operations team, they do work till about 7 every night, just to make sure that the files are processed. But for our frontline teams, yes, they do. They leave at 4:30 and they love it. They're out the door by 4:35 in the afternoons. They get an hour lunch. It's a good deal. For some people, and they love that. So know that, yes, you can have banker hours, but as you grow in your career and you advance, it truly, comes to, how hard you want to work and what hours you want to work. And when we talk to high school students a lot at the bank, we preach, do what you love, find out what your interests are, really what excites you, because you are with your work family more than you are with your own family at night. So by the time I get home, I'm telling you, we're putting, dinner on the table. We're exhausted and we're ready to go to bed between 9 and 9:30, right? So the number of hours that we get to have with our family, when everybody's awake, it's not that many hours. Now, Saturdays and Sundays are really good because normally banks are not open on the weekends. So you have your weekends to yourself. Definitely better than where I started in my first few years of college. I worked retail. I worked at JCPenney's, and it was not fun. Christmas was not fun because you worked Christmas Eve, you worked the day after Christmas, the day after Thanksgiving. So you did not have those 11 federal holidays like we do today.
Yeah.
But I think as y'all all start to think about what you want to do after high school, do you want to go to college? Do you want to get into a trade? Do you want to, you know, take some time off and do something, or do you just want to just jump in there and start learning? I think there's so many different opportunities. My stepson, he's ready to go into welding. He's leaving school on an early release program and going and working in a welding shop. And that's a great avenue. Doesn't necessarily have to always go to college like we did, but that's a great route too. I think you just have to find really what makes you happy and what you're interested in, and ultimately, what excites you. Because if you're doing something that you don't enjoy, you're not going to take ownership of it and really love what you do. Because again, I think that makes you, happy. My brother's a coach. He's a coach at McLaurin High School, and he loves coaching football, and that is what he lives and breathes. And I didn't understand that when he was saying, I just want to coach. I just want to be with the kids all day. And I get it now. That's his gig. And you just, really got to think about providing for your family, making sure that you make an affordable wage for yourself and your family. And if you're happy, that's good. You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to have the newest car, the biggest house. Find where you're content, and then really, really step back and just enjoy what you do.
Now, one thing I wanted to hit on, well, because you mentioned about the trades and going out of college, banks are all, and now more than ever, banking is hiring tech professionals. So cybersecurity certificates, IT certificates, people developing the apps, online banking. I mean, obviously you're going to have your in-house people, your finance people, your accounting people, all that's not going away, but online and electronic people, IT is just never been bigger in banking than it has been now. So even if someone doesn't want to do the 4-year degree route, getting a cybersecurity certification, I guarantee you these banks could find a place for you once you get that certification.
Oh, absolutely. So information technology reports to me, and that's one of our biggest areas of where we spend our money, is in cybersecurity, is keeping everybody's money safe. And we just hired a guy that's got, young guy, I think he's 20, 21, 22, with a cybersecurity designation. And he literally is just sitting, I say he sits in a dark room with the lights off, watching our monitors, looking at potential cyber alerts of keeping the bad guys out. Sometimes, it's somebody from another country trying to hack in. Sometimes it's, someone, inside the United States, and just being able to block those links. We get emails all the time with bad links in them that'll cause viruses and ultimately allow hackers into the network. So that data security piece is huge. So if you like computers, cybersecurity is huge right now. We have so many great industries in the state of Mississippi that are focusing on cybersecurity. Ceasefire, Howard Industries, so in addition to banks, that you can, really get a great job in. And now we've got the new Amazon out on in Canton. That AWS, I mean, if you have not driven by that is just a city in itself, and is going to provide so many awesome career opportunities for Mississippians, and especially young Mississippians like you guys. So it'll really be up and running when y'all are seniors and getting ready to go out into the world.
Now, one thing I wanted to hit on, obviously, with you being in a bank, is the importance of knowing how a bank works. Because even if you don't have any desire to work in a bank, you're still going to have to deal with one. If you ever want to buy a business, if you want to buy a home, if you ever want to have any type of major purchase, you're going to have to deal with a bank. Having a Cash App card is not having a bank account. So getting that relationship now with bankers is extremely important to all of our kids. So just give us a few basics on that, because it really is so vital to taking that next step after high school.
Yes. Okay. So, y'all, I would tell you it is so important to have a relationship with a local bank, somebody that you can go sit down, talk with, ask them questions. It's vital for you to be able to grow. And one day, you're going to want to buy a house. You're going to want to buy a car. And yes, you can do some of those online, but if there's anything potentially in your credit that you need to be able to talk to somebody on, and the importance of keeping your credit clean so you can do those purchases is so important. So when you start working when you're 18, you can get a checking account. Encourage your family to go in with you and open an account. You can open an account younger at some banks. Some banks will let you sign on if you sign in with a parent or grandparent, so you can go ahead and get a banking relationship started. But it's so important that if a cyber event were to occur, or you lost your debit card or something, Cash App is just going to say, so sorry, so bad, and you're not going to be able to lay eyes on somebody to talk to. You're going to be texting them,
Yep.
and not be able to like really get the answers that you need. Cash App, leaving money on Venmo, PayPal, or any of those others. You need an account, because at a bank, when we even are looking at loan requests, we see how long have you banked with us. What has your responsibility been like in your checking account? Have you had overdraft? Have you overspent? That is a good predictor of, are you going to pay your loan or not? So making sure that you set up a checking account along with a savings account. I can't tell you how important it is to make sure that you're saving for emergency expenses. For a rainy day is what we call them. Make sure that you've got a rainy day fund. Because I promise, when you're 18 or 21, whenever you get out on your own, one day you're going to have a blowout on your car, and you're going to need new tires, or the transmission's going to go out. Our stepson's rear end in his truck just went out, and it was $2,500 to fix it. How are you going to pay for that? So just thinking about making sure that you have that, and even think about just other expenses that you might have with a family. Groceries are expensive. Whomever you live with, thank them for what they do every day when they go to work, to take care of you, because the cost of living is so expensive, and what they're providing for you is huge. So sometimes I think we take our family and our grandparents or whomever we live with for granted, but go home, y'all, tell them thank you for being hardworking Mississippians, and providing for you, because just the cost of life has really grown over the past few years. But just make sure that you're saving for those rainy days, and when those additional expenses occur, because again, that's where you're going to get your mortgage loan. That's where you're going to get different things. When you get out of school, y'all, and you might even start in, like, when you're a senior, you're going to get these credit card applications in the mail, and they're going to want you to sign up and start paying for things that you want now that you might not necessarily need. They're going to want to say, oh, put it on a credit card. It's going to be fine. You can pay it back. Well, you're paying back probably at 20, even almost 30% sometimes of what your credit card expense is. So that interest rate is so expensive, and people get in so much trouble on credit cards that they might end up filing bankruptcy or making some other really bad decisions with their expenses. So make sure when you get a credit card, and credit cards are good because you need good credit, is making sure whatever you put on your credit card every month, you're paying it back. And that way you do have it for a rainy day when you do have to buy a set of tires, and it might take you 6 months to pay it back. But just making sure that you're paying your bills responsibly, as best as you can, and again, having a relationship with a bank for your direct deposit, and making sure that when you come in, you're not rushing to the bank on a Friday afternoon trying to get your check cashed. Just go ahead and let your employer deposit that money in your account, direct deposit, and that way it's automatically there for you.
Yeah, and it's not just But it's not just that. Also, one thing that's important is you talked about stuff in the mail. It's not just going to be in the mail. On college campuses now, they're lined up with tables trying to give you swag. I mean, every time you go, I love Academy Sports, but every time you go there, they're trying to sign you up for their store credit card to get 20% off. And then you can't even go to a dang basketball game. Every time I go to a Pelicans game in New Orleans, they're trying to give away T-shirts to sign up for a credit card. It really has never been crazier than it is now. Um, Now, before I get to the students' questions, I did want to hit on one thing that was in the video I think is important. And we have another friend of this class who is over at Trustmark, and banks love promoting from within. So this is a great field to get into if you can get in and learn a business. You saw a couple people in the videos. They started as tellers. You started as a teller, but this is a business. If you get in and learn it, banks love moving up their own people because let's be honest, it saves money to move somebody up than it does to hire somebody else. But if somebody already knows the culture, that company is going to want that over somebody that have to bring in and teach that.
Absolutely. Every chance that we can, we promote within. And I will tell you, other banks, we fight for experienced people. So the way that we go out and we recruit people is we look for people with experience. So once you start in a career, hone that career, learn everything you can about it, find a mentor. And y'all, even in ninth grade, you can find somebody in an industry that you are interested in working in, and just ask them if you can have a conversation with them and ask them what they do in their job, just like what y'all are doing in your class. I think that's so good about letting people come in and talk to you about what they do, because that's how you're going to find out if you're interested in whatever kind of career it is. But go in and talk to a banker and just say, hey, do you like what you do every day? Tell me what you do. And then that way you can help determine, if that's something you want to do or not. But absolutely, we promote within. And we go out and we look for experienced bankers that have banked at other institutions and say, hey, come work for us because we're cooler, we're better. We're the better bank. Come work for us. So as you do that, just if you have a good personality and you're positive and you're willing to do what your supervisor asks you to do, you will go far in life. Even when you don't like it, even when you're like, they're giving me this job and I don't like doing it, do it with a smile on your face. You will get promoted. If you do it with a smile on your face, and I say a smile in your heart, do it. Don't get a bad attitude. A bad attitude will get you fired. I don't care what industry you're in. We have to do that here. If people aren't treating our clients right and ultimately treating each other right, and not doing their work, that's a quick way to get a pink slip, and have to go look for another job because you won't be here if you're not doing your job and doing it well with a smile on your face. I say all the time. So put a smile on your face even when you're faking it.
Well, I do have a few questions from the students, and just have time for a few, but these are good. I like this one. This is Zykeria Chambers. She's in ninth grade, and she asked, even though you said you weren't interested in banking as a child, what made you finally decide to get into it?
Great question. Yeah, so I did not want to go into banking when I was younger because that's what my mom did. But I will tell you, as I went through school and I was interviewing with different places, I realized that banking was a good fit for me. It was a good career. It was something that I could, learn in and ultimately retire in. I don't want to work forever, right? So I wanted to make sure that I could build a nest egg that when I do have, I am at an age that I can retire with enough money to be able to pay the bills, right? So that's why I ended up going into banking and just realized that it was a good, steady career and something that I would be happy in.
Awesome.
Great
This is
question.
Christian Fields. He's in ninth grade, one of our football players here. And he asked, what's the hardest thing to learn when you get into the banking industry?
Wow. So I would say the hardest thing to learn is probably all the banking regulations of what you can do and what you can't do. Especially in my role as president, we have a lot of rules that we have to follow that the federal government places on the banks. But I will tell you, there's so many great resources that we go to learn. And I will tell you, we go to class, even though I'm 43 years old, I go to class and I learn new banking regulations. I have to do continuing education every year to make sure that I know what I need to know to be a good banker. So you never stop learning, even when you're old, like us. You'll learn new things every day. So I think at first, probably the hardest thing was to learn just all the regulations and things that we had to do. And then, every time we turn around with the government, we've got some new law coming out, or new governmental agency that's been created to enforce banks. So that's a great question. But I
I
will
got
tell
time
you, you
for
can learn it. It's not rocket
yeah.
science.
I got time for one more. This is Sydney Evans. He's in ninth grade, one of our football and baseball players here, and he asked, "What were the biggest obstacles you had to overcome to get to your current role?"
Wow, that's a great question. So I have been very, very blessed to get in my role, especially at my age, because I'm definitely young for a bank president. So I would say just being ready to do hard work and jump in, learn things that I didn't know the answer to, but being willing to say, you know what, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm gonna find out.
There you go.
And that has been, I think, the best thing for me and has allowed me to grow in my career because I never told my boss no. So I always said, okay, I'm going to figure it out. But the biggest thing too is, I've always been honest with my people and honest in my career, and just I care about every single person here at the bank, and just loving them as my family and making sure that everybody's happy. And if they're not, we need to find another role for them. So I think in my career, as I have grown, is just learning to be me, and to be comfortable in my own shoes and make good decisions for the bank and ultimately our customers.
That's awesome. Well, we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for fitting us in your busy schedule today. But a couple things before we go. First of all, First Commercial Bank. Um, where are the where are some of the locations where they can come in and talk to somebody?
Yeah, so we have an office here in Jackson. We're right across the street from Highland Village. We also have an office in Jackson or in Ridgeland, Mississippi. We have one in Oxford, South Haven, and Memphis, Tennessee. But the good thing about us is we are online, and you don't have to come into a bank every day. We can open accounts for you virtually. We can do all kind of different things through mobile banking. One cool thing though is yesterday we announced a name change for our bank. So right now we're First Commercial Bank, but in August we're going to be changing our name to Story Bank. So STORY. We want to be a
Wow.
part of your story. Yeah. So we just want to be a part of your family story, your business's story. We just thought it was kind of a cool, fun, edgy name that wasn't kind of boring like First Commercial. And because so many people thought we only bank businesses, and that's not true. So we're doing a big marketing campaign. We've got videos coming out. We've got social media coming out about our name change. We're not selling. We're not changing anything about any of our products and services. We're simply just changing the name. So really excited about that and sharing that with the community. But y'all start seeing a lot in Canton and all areas of Madison County about Story Bank. So
Well, in the fall, we'd love to have you for Banker in Every Classroom, and Story would be the name at that time. So we'd love to have y'all come on campus for some of the new branding at that time. I believe that's in October. We'd love to have you guys. Now, the last thing before we go, obviously, we got kids 9th, 10th grade going to start making decisions about what they want to do in life, where they want to go to school. A lot of great business programs in Mississippi, even at the community college level. But if a kid is interested in business, finance, why should they really kind of consider a career in banking as they move through college?
yeah, so I would just say again, banking is going to be here. There's other industries that are changing, that are evolving, and could end up being outsourced or changed just due to different regulations and things in the government. But I will tell you, banking is a solid career that you can ultimately work in, until you retire. So again, you can kind of pick your area of expertise in banking, whether it's, being on the front line with a customer or working in the back office and doing IT. So there's all different types of jobs in a bank.
That's awesome. Well, we've come a long way since we were kids, but again, we definitely appreciate you joining us today. The President and Chief Operating Officer of First Commercial Bank, Pam Ware. But before I go, I'll give it for you. Hail State.
Amen. There you go. Bye, y'all.
Talk to you
Y'all have a
later, buddy.
great day. Okay. Happy Friday.
See ya.